All right, we're back. My boys are here. So you know you're in the right place. So listen, I want to continue the conversation from last week. So last week we called it defining the patient experience, right? The patient experience, and talked high level about, right, understanding a couple things and creating this patient experience, and then talked about, right, some examples of the patient experience. I want to go a step higher, which I think is necessary here, and I've been thinking a lot about since last week's share. So let's go again. I want to talk more about this patient life cycle because I mentioned it in the video last week, but this is really what gets missed, my friends, is everybody will talk about the experience they want to create, and they'll tell me about it, and they'll have great things they want to do, and they'll be right in line with it, right? So I want to create this, I want to do this, I want to do that. At kind of that higher level, creating something different, creating an emotional response. So it's like, cool, you get this. Yet then, I alluded to this again in last week's video. Then we go back up and we look at, okay, right? So let's look at your patient life cycle so we can build out this experience. Remember this, and I'm going to say this again and again. You can only create the experience you want your client, customer, patients to have after you understand the journey, right? The patient journey within your business. This includes, when I say patient journey, I guarantee you everybody goes from like eval forward. I'm talking about when they first contact. So this patient journey, and actually it includes your marketing, right? So the branding. So people, this experience you want to create, people have to see it in your marketing, right? Which feeds into what I want to share with you today, right? So if we understand this life cycle, then we can create this experience we want to move people through this journey. And hold on, I pulled something up here. I want to read real quick for you all from last week. I also talked about patient experience, right? It's an emotional journey. It's those reviews. I talked about the reviews that show up that don't tell you people got better. So I found a review last week from my friends over at Lake Washington Physical Therapy. And here's how it reads. Exactly. This was after I did the video. Of course, I took a screenshot and shared it in my group, right? And I posted this review with the question, did this patient get better? Outstanding professionals at Lake Washington PT. This was my first PT experience and far exceeded my expectations. That's it. That's it. Game over. That's all they wrote. Good review, bad review, best fucking review you could ask for. Because I'm reading that as a potential user and I'm building in my story within that. Wow, it was their first time. Wow, they had never had PT. Wow, they exceeded their expectations. This is somewhere this is something I need to look at. This is somewhere I need to call. This is someone I need to ask questions about. This is someone I need to schedule with. That's the response we want, right? That is a review completely based on their experience, and right, far exceeded my expectations. Well, your expectations, right? Your experience. I was thinking about what it was going to be like. It was completely different. So Lake Washington created this experience for their people to do that. How did Lake Washington do that? Right? Two things. You must understand, right? So all great businesses, I referenced Charles Schwab last week because this is the example I want to do. All great successful businesses understand two things, and they understand it very, very well before they create their patient or client customer experience. They understand the journey and the entry point, right, for all of their potential and current clients. They also understand who they can serve best. So we went high level last week, and I said, you must understand your patient journey. And I want to go one further. Not only must you understand your patient journey, I would say you must understand your most successful patient's journey. We're back to this word patient success. If this is the first time you're hearing me, then that's the first time you've heard patient success, but I probably use that word just as much as patient life cycle, patient success, business success, front desk success. So you must understand your client, customer, patient journey within your practice, business, clinic, and you must understand who you can serve best in your clinic, practice, business. This goes all the way back upstream to where do your best clients come from, right? Meaning, what do they tell you they see? That's what I mean. Where do they come from? Not referral stuff like that. What do they see? What do they hear about you? Right. And you're building that into that marketing, right? Way upstream. But marketing is part of your patient's life cycle, your customer's life cycle, your client's life cycle within your business. You want to attract and pull in the right people that are reading that review that I just read you that goes, sounds like the place for me. I mean, that's the review I'm going to post. I want people, by the way, coincidentally enough, and this isn't why I pulled it up, I want people who have had, right, who have a negative experience somewhere else or have had no experience, meaning they've never been to PT. Cool. Exceeded my expectations. So probably that story, as you break it down more, sounds like, well, they're not like the other places, right? And by the way, this is the story I'm making up and why I'd probably call them, right? So if I put this information, if I put that into my marketing, into my website, into my client, customer, patient facing marketing materials, conversations, website, everything, then I will start to attract the people who will be most successful during their journey in my business, going through the experience that I have created for them. The step back here today is you must understand every single entry point into your business for your client, customer, patients, and you must understand those that you can serve best. You cannot serve everybody. You cannot serve everybody calling for physical therapy, right? This is why the entry point is so important. And get ready, the better you market upstream, the higher your conversion rate will be, meaning the right people who should be in your clinic will be the people calling, right? So if it's a real broad general marketing, if you don't really understand who does best in your business and you're just looking to do physical therapy, you're going to create that churn and burn that the majority of clinics have created. Drop-offs, no-shows, cancels, a lot of phone calls, a lot of activity, everybody in the company very busy. And it's like, where the fuck's the money? Where the fuck is patient success? Here's the other interesting thing about patient success. Where's the money? Where's the positive reviews? If you have people show up for one visit and they disappear, 2 visits and they disappear, 3 visits and they disappear, right? Then you've got a very, very, very biased survey program. They're not the ones leaving reviews. They're not the ones going online, right? So, you got to look at this again. You got to look at the life cycle and the experience you want to create. And I would guarantee if you say, look, these are the people I want to treat. Here's their, here's how they're going to come into my business. They're going to call me. They're going to walk in. And even these days, because remember, this all predates me, which is cool, right? These days, right? There weren't, it may be an email from a web form. It may be an inquiry through Facebook or Instagram, right? So those are entry points to your business, right? So when I say you must understand every single entry point, you must understand every single entry point. This is the first question I ask everybody when we work together. All right, let's sit down at the beginning. Give me all the ways people can come into your business. And they always forget ways. And I say, how's this different than the other thing? And they don't differ. And I'm like, but you don't have the same people, right? Again, understanding your patient's journey before we ever create the systems. So what people have done, they've created a front desk system and then they throw all this marketing at the wall, right? Facebook, Instagram, web forms, community events, everything. And the front desk is told to manage everybody the same way. I'm like, well, that's not understanding the life cycle. And that's not understanding these people that you're most successful with. I'm going to tell you right now, a Facebook ad lead that you get on the phone does not get the conversation and the objective, get ready, of a call with a Facebook ad person you've connected with is not the same as someone who calls and says, hi, my name's Jerry. I have low back pain. I want to get scheduled for physical therapy. An old patient of yours, Becky Smith told me I should call you guys. By the way, same checklist, same process, same everything, different conversation. If I script all these out one way, you will lose. And that's the bulk of them. You cannot handle, right? So again, if I understand my patient's journey, if I understand who I serve best, right? Then I can create qualifying questions. I can create better questions for people who know nothing about us, the Facebook ad. Person who's been told to come see you by someone else who was successful, the person who was an old past patient of yours, right? All those, they've already checked off some of the qualifiers. That's why I'm saying the conversation is different. The process is not different. The conversation is different. Because now I understand all the entry points into my patient's journey within my business. I understand who I can serve best. And now I've created an experience. I build out the systems and processes to manage all those people. This also will cause you to slow down and value the people who don't schedule a little more. This will also cause you to slow down and reflect on why are we trying to get everybody scheduled. This will also make you pause and reflect and go, we got to measure drop-offs more strictly. We got to measure cancels more strictly. It wasn't until I started doing all this work and looking where people were coming from and right, what's this journey look like, and going, why didn't these people come back? Right. And the default always is they weren't bought in. They weren't this. We go to the provider. I go, if someone drops off after the eval, I go straight to the front desk. I don't go to the providers. Someone drops off after visit 2, I go straight to the front desk. If someone drops off after visit 3, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go to the front desk, make sure the process was followed. But now I'm going to lean more towards the providers. But that's because I understand who we serve. And right, the first thing I'm going to do, if I understand who we serve and I understand their journey in my business and the systems we put in place, then I can break down where I need to put the work in. Many of you listening to this are doing what I did for probably 8 years straight, which is go to my PTs for all the cancels, go to my PTs for all the drop-offs. What's funny is there's this weird world out there. It's interesting because I ask everybody, how do you know about your drop-offs? Oh, the front desk delivers them to me. And I'm like, really? And then I go to the providers and go, well, who owns the drop-offs? Well, I go to my providers because they own that. I'm like, so why is the front desk team having to do the research? And then I get these, right? My front desk owns the drop-offs, right? They call everybody back. I'm like, who had the relationship though? Right? Think about that for a second. If I understand my patient's journey within my business, then I understand that someone needs to own. I used to say every step, and it's true, but even think about it like this. Someone needs to own a phase, pre-arrival phase, eval phase, course of care phase, right? Those phases are the bigger blocks of then the steps, right? And then we insert the systems and processes into there. But it comes first from understanding that journey and who I want to serve before I can ever create the systems and processes, right, to deliver a successful patient. By the way, a successful patient, maybe I'll do this next week. A successful patient has 10 check boxes, right? How would you guys define patient success if I didn't tell you there was 10? It doesn't mean my 10 are correct, but it's got to be more than one. They got better. I'm like, oh, we don't even know if the fucking person in that review got better. There's no fucking idea. And they just bought you more new clients. Why? I should say they bought you more people calling to inquire. So now your front desk, your sales team can do their work and earn their money. How about that? A better patient experience, I talked about this, right, leads to better description of your experience and what you can deliver, which will attract more people who want that kind of experience, which in turn, your front desk still has to follow all the processes, your sales team, front desk sales team, pre-arrival, yet they're going to be happier because they're going to be speaking to more people who go, okay, I'm not saying they're all going to buy in immediately and it's going to be a 3-minute call. I'm saying, right, these are people going to go, yeah, I want to share my information. Yeah, I want to hear more about this. Yeah, I want to know the price because I understand the value I'll get in return, right? So again, this makes the role of this front desk salesperson, I'm going to say simpler, not easier. I may have said easier, simpler. The patient's journey within your business. I guarantee you the hardest work to be done, I will guarantee this, is that front end work, is the pre-arrival phase. What are all my marketing endpoints? Who's coming in through here? What are they seeing, right? Here's a little takeaway from today. If you don't have your front desk team asking those Facebook ads, those Facebook inquiries, the very first question, right? They acknowledge. And then if the very first question isn't tell me what you saw in that ad that prompted you to call us, then you're missing a huge opportunity here to set your front desk team up for success. So they know quickly, right, qualifier wise, what direction they need to go in the conversation to get the process done in an efficient manner. The front end pre-arrival process is the most difficult process to map out. And it's getting more difficult because of more ways for people to come into your world. And I would argue more is not always better. More automation is not better. More entry points is not better. right? What's better is you understanding each entry point as you create it and understanding, right? How are we going to set the next step up for success? The next step up for success, the next step up for success. Said this once, I'll say it again. Facebook leads cannot, be expected to be delivered in the same manner, in the same timeliness as someone who calls and says, yeah, I heard a lot about you. I want to get on the schedule. I'm not saying both of those customers won't arrive, pay, and stay. The increased likelihood of arrive, pay, and stay with that second person, I heard a lot about you, I want to get scheduled, is far greater than I saw your Facebook ad. And most people are treating them exactly the same with the same exact process. How do I know that? I listen to recorded calls. I break these down with the people answering them. I'm fortunate. I got a lot of people who are bought in, front desk people, to wanting to improve the process, wanting to make their job simpler. And this is my promise to all front desk teams. There's going to be work to be done, but you're going to become more efficient. It's going to become simpler for you. If you quickly, this is what's interesting. If I hear you found us on Facebook, I quickly know what 3 questions to ask. If I hear you say a friend told us to see you, I know what questions to ask very quickly to start qualifying you, right? And then I can move through the process to what? Set up, arrive, and pay. So the provider is set up for success for stay. So understand your patient's journey, understand that person that you can serve best. And then I would challenge you all, the first processes and systems you start to build out after you've mapped out that journey is then, right? Because each of those people need different systems and processes. They're not going to be that far off. It's still the same 5-point, 10-point checklist for the intake, but we have to ask different qualifying questions at the beginning. So some questions I might ask down here get moved up. All right. So this patient experience is really important. And I want you guys, here's the take home. It's 100% under your control. You can leverage it best when you do what I just shared in this video today, in this audio today. Right? You want to leverage it to its highest potential. So saying, I understand my patient's experience, we did all these things. I'm like, but you don't understand your journey, right? They're still showing up pissed off. I've sat in some of the nicest clinics ever watching patient after patient. And I kid you not, walking in upset about an email they got about, right, providers not seeing them on time and everything, right? So this experience is not just something you can touch and feel. It's how do we make them, touch and see, It's how are we making them feel as they move through the journey in our business. If we understand their journey and we understand who we serve best, then we bring those people in. We move them along that journey with the systems and processes we built in place to deliver the experience that people then write reviews, like you said, exceeded my expectations. I guarantee you that's worth a couple more calls this week, this month. Of which, right, if your front desk team is set up properly for success, the first question they're going to ask is, oh, what did you see that got you to call us? Oh, you read a review. What did it say? And then they're going to tell you what's important to them. It's magical, my friends. All right, cool. Have a great week. See you all back here next week.